Dramatics, welcome back. So we just watched the first episode of Ready, Set, Love. So as you guys already know by this time, I had already watched it last year, and I kind of did a little bit of commentary with Vicky Raves. But I was like, Dramatic Bestie, I think you'll actually really enjoy this drama, especially for all the good stuff that's coming forward. And I know, like, you are the one who likes anime more than I do, and so I guess when I had initially watched that, that's what I got from the anime vibes, a lot of the screaming and all the action points. But is that what you also saw through this first episode?
A little bit, kind of, sort of. I think it's more because of, like, the bright saturation of all the colors and just even the store where Day works, it's, like, very bright and colorful, and it has a lot of the K-pop influences. I kind of veer toward that more because it's like, oh, it's Gundam art. Like seeing the Hangul and stuff, I'm like, okay. And so I felt like it kind of leaned more into, like, K-pop a little bit. And with the little sister's obsession with the guys and everything and following all their stuff and buying all their products, like, it reminds me of a, like, really dedicated K-pop fan. It's like, my favorite idol is wearing this sweater, I have to buy it too. Or their face is on this milk carton, so I have to buy all those.
All of that. It's kind of like, the same thing with K-pop albums. It's like, because you have, like, 9 different iterations, because then you have it for these same groups, and sometimes you have the black and white album, you have the color album, and then you have the individual with each of your people on,
the super extra mega
edition.
Version
revisited,
rebranded, recoded.
But
like
I guess it is a combination of both of those. Because yes, you do bring up a good point about it being so K-pop oriented, and of course, like, all these having fandoms, knowing the facts about all the people you like, especially since that's so essential playing this particular game. But also, like I said, like, it reminds me so much of anime because of just the way not only just for the colors, but also how sometimes Day acts a little bit, with her the overacting and everything. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. That to me also kind of gives a little bit of anime flex. So I think there's, like, a great happy marriage of so many things here. But I think, like, once we go along, you will see a lot more things where you're just like, man, that is, like, deep and profound. But I know, like, what I find interesting, of course, now I'm watching it as a revisitation in comparison to you. That's like, this is the first time you've laid eyes on it. Mm-hmm. So I guess, overall, what is your first impression of this show?
I love this so far. Like, even though, like, she overacts, like, it makes sense because she's just so extra. Yeah. And I feel like that's just part of her personality.
But her sister's like that, too.
And her sister's like that, too. Like, especially if you are a fan of, like, K-pop or J-pop and you're in that idol culture, like, how deep that shit gets and how it's like, oh, they just did a live stream, oh, they just did this, we have to go out and buy all their albums, and it's like, oh my god.
Or if they wore something, if they ate something, or if they did that, like, I have to go to that place, I have to go and get that particular product.
Just the obsession of it all, like, it reminds me, like, seeing like May and Day together, it reminds me of me and my sisters, like, when they first got into K-pop and they were, like, obsessed with, like, TVXQ and Rain, and they're like, oh, I gotta get this album, blah, blah, blah.
Because I remember when you were just like, ooh, girl, Rain.
Like, okay.
Girl, let's watch this video. So.
But I just love the relationship between the two, and how, like, she has no interest in none of this dating stuff or the family or whatever, the farm. She's just like, look, I'm just trying to make it through the day and get stuff for my sister so she can be healthy. And I just love how she's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm willing to do whatever I can. Yeah. And, like, I love how with each question that she's having to go through, each test, everything rewinds back to her sister. Yes. And, like, her health is deteriorating. She's not doing well, but we get these callbacks to when, like, they've shared these special moments together. Yes. And she's like, yeah, I don't fully get it, but I love her, and that's a part of who she is. And so it's like this whole game and everything, we're remembering, like, different little clues and stuff that the sister's like, oh yeah, look at this, like, like, girl, get this out of my face, I can't afford this, but I can't take you there, da, 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 da. But they have that one thing to tie them together, even though it seems like they have quite a big age gap. It's like, that reminds me of me and my sister. I'm like, I probably would do the exact same thing she's doing. Like, I have no interest in none of this, but I want her to get the best care. I just love, like, the set design as well, like
Very
with
much
how
so.
bright and colorful things are. We know like there's some darker stuff happening on the surface because it's like it's giving Hunger Games meets like K-pop meets anime, and we know, especially if you've watched anime, there's always a deeper story than what's on the surface.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're gonna get into some stuff, and it's like Son's reaction to this whole situation, how uninterested he is,
because he's known as like Ice Princess
Ice
or
Prince.
Ice Prince or whatever.
And I just like the different personalities of the boys. I'm like, it's definitely giving boy band. Like we were talking about
Max,
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters, and I had already like told Bessie that that Max, one of the characters on there, you know, he reminds me so much of Kai from EXO because
Yes.
you know, Max is the type of person like he feels a little bit himbo-ish. Like he's very himbo, like, but he's very sweet. But he's just like, hey ladies, and he's immediately like wanting to take off his like his shirt or his coat or whatever like that to show off his ass. Not to say that's what all Kai imbibes, but I'm keep thinking about Obsession, like because he was the one that they're showcasing his abs off.
Yeah.
And so I guess like let's get into the gist of like what the overall purpose of this I guess like showing why she has to be on that particular game show of Ready Set Love. There was some kind of like disease in the 1970s or some kind of abnormal, I guess like mutation that had happened to where men eventually becomes the lower percent. Like there's like 1% less of men in comparison to all the women. So with that, in order for them to practically save, I guess like mankind of sorts, they have taken any of the males and put them on this place called the farm where they cultivate them and everything else. And most of the other population outside of that manufactured place is where all the women stay. So that's where Day and her sister lives. Day is the only person that takes care of her sister because it doesn't seem like their mother is around. So she is the breadwinner for her family. So she works at a convenience store to help with her sister, and her sister is already sick with I can't remember if it's like cancer or something like that, but she's very, very sick. Her sister is a fangirl. Like she is a fangirl. Her ultimate fangirl, but her favorite is Sun, and Sun is of course the male lead of this drama, but he's also practically a lot of people's favorites. But there's 5 guys in total that is for this next season, the 7th season of this run of Ready Set Love, which is the game show that will give people or women a chance to marry one of these 5 men so that can eventually live on, to live in the world where the men are, you know, to be nice and safe. Because to me, like when we were going back to talking about the Hunger Games, the game show, yes, it can be in that way, but not as brutal.
It's not brutal, but it gives the same flashiness.
Kind of flashiness, and of course, like the stakes as well. The whole gumption of the Hunger Games period was that if you were to win that particular game show, you will eventually graduate to have a better life, period.
Quote unquote.
Better. Better, but you know, that still has with political ties to it too.
And the Hunger Games existing was political.
Right.
It was meant as a punishment of sorts.
Yes.
And at least in this regard, it makes some kind of sense. It's like, yeah, our population's about to die.
Yeah. So we have to protect the commodities.
And it's an interesting way to incentivize, like, hey.
It is. Also, when it comes to the Hunger Games, like I was telling you about, you know, you have these main girls that are also going to compete. They're practically the equivalent of the careers. The ones that were like raised in the capital or, you know, the richer districts. This is kind of like the same. These are the girls that not only are they already rich, they also the ones that were raised with their fathers too. So, you know, they were raised a part of of this culture to where, you know, people like Day don't even have that kind of like correlation between the two because of course like Day didn't know who her father is and everything else. You also will find out, like a lot of things, kind of like you did at the Capitol in the Hunger Games, not all is as it seems. Not all that glitters is gold with that. And so what I like about this is that in this iteration, I'm not sure what they did in seasons past, but I guess like the past winner and his lady, they are the hosts of this game that's coming up. And so there is a lottery that is happening right now from all the milk caps that they were collecting. That was what her sister was trying to get. Exactly. And so her sister's been trying to get this. Because at first I'm just like, girl, are you trying to get on there? Because I'm like, you're a little too young to try and do this lottery to marry one of these men. What she was trying to do, that was to eventually, hopefully, give her sister a chance. So because she knows that she's sick and she knows that her sister can only afford so much, and that if she's gone, at least her sister will be taken care of if she wins.
Yeah.
And so when her sister goes out on a goes out with her friend Valentine, and we'll get into Valentine a little bit. They go out to eat, and they are going to do the last bit of lottery winners, because I think they were doing like 5 rounds, and I think this was going to be the last round, and there's going to be 50 ladies total for this game show, so they're looking for their 50th. And just by happenstance, while she was putting in the last bottle cap, that May was putting in the last bottle cap, Day ends up being the 50th dog.
And I love her reaction to it.
Her reaction and her picture, because they have, I guess, like your ID picture, and so they have it broadcasted everywhere. And she's just like, no.
It's like she had no idea her sister was doing this. She thought May was just doing her normal obsessive
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you're getting all these milk. Because when we see the start of the episode, Day is working. Like, she's working at the convenience store, and we see this girl with the tooth. We don't know it's her sister yet, but like buying all this milk and stuff, and she's just kind of looking at her like, what? What is this for? And then later you find out, okay, they're related. And then you see her fangirling over the standee of San, and I'm like, girl, that's... Yeah, this is definitely giving K-pop energy for sure.
Absolutely.
And she later is like, fine, I'll bring it home. And seeing that, how happy that makes her younger sister, it's like, okay, whatever. I'll entertain whatever ridiculousness as long as you're happy and you're healthy. Like, that's all I care about. Yes. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But baby, do you.
To each your own. Especially since, like, in the condition that she is. She's like, whatever will keep you good and happy and good spirits, I will do whatever, even if it's still like taking this display of Sun, because she's like, because as you find out, like you had said, like, Day doesn't give a flip about any of this. She's like, I'm just trying to work, provide for my family, and even if May wasn't sick, she still wouldn't care about it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that's all she's really concentrating on. She's just trying to make sure that her sister is the happiest thing. So yeah, getting this display from the convenience store of Sun, if that would make her happy, that is all that matters.
And all the milk stuff, she's like, well, if that makes her healthier, who cares? Whatever.
Who cares? Ring it up.
It's her next little thing. But yeah, I love May because she's so bubbly and so cute. I think she's like, what, 12-ish, 13?
Give or take, yeah.
And so she's right in that era where, she's getting into boys and she's
boys
obsessed.
And hormones, that's all.
And it reminded me of like the late 90s like boy band era, because that was me. I'm like, oh my God, I need my pictures of Backstreet Boys. And I wasn't that bad, but I'm like, yeah, this is...
you wrote fanfic, so...
Yeah, I did write fanfics. I didn't realize it at the time that was the name of it, but it's like, I could see...
Yeah, that was like...
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, a lot of us were writing that stuff, but fanfiction wasn't defined yet. Like, that was the name for it. But, like, a lot of us were writing, like, or a spin-off from something. So,
Yeah, and I didn't realize that there was a community... Oh my God, if I had internet at the time, I would be in so much trouble.
Like, once I discovered like fanfiction because I went to fanfiction.net first until it started getting all addy and stuff, and now I'm on AO3. But I'm like, anytime I've watched any dramas, I'm like, okay, let me find any other story on this. Because I'm like, that's how I got through all those, like, messed up seasons of Scandal. I'm like, y'all write it better, so let me go ahead and get through that.
But I just love how their relationship, like, you see that established very quickly.
Yes.
And I like how you see the contrast of the bright colors and all that with, like, the slums that they live in and kind of the dour surroundings that they live in.
Yeah.
And Day is doing everything to make ends meet. You could see her, like... Okay, look at her bills and kind of stressing out, like, how am I going to pay her medical bills, all that stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I like the attention to detail because, like I said, I'm watching this on the second round. And so, like, Day, her name is, I think, like, Derica or something like that, or Derita. But each shirt she had, like, normal Day. And then she had, like, another one, like, that says, like, today.
Yeah.
I guess when she goes, like, the next day. And so, of course, her nickname is Day. And so I just find that, like, an interesting tie-in. And there's, like, a lot of tie-ins you will see watching on. But since Day has gotten picked by the praying to the gods from her sister to get into this, She goes and she's just like, you know what? I'm here for commissary. Like, let me go ahead and eat. And
right.
And she's up there packing on all this stuff. And of course, like, there's 5 other lottery winners, and they kind of each have a sash, like Lady 50 or Lady 49 or whatever like that. But then you have the careers come in, and the head of those careers is named Chanel. And there's also another one next to her, like a very bubbly kind of person named, I think her name is Bovie. And so, like, you can tell they're really close friends, because I'm sure they were raised, like, together. Because they come from affluent families, and her mom, like, Chanel's mom, is that chick. You'll eventually find out more about her. But Bovie has her eyes on Max, because she's like, as long as it's Max, it's all that matters.
Yeah.
And then you also see, like, at least by episode 1, that it seems that Chanel is kind of, like, eyeing Sun. It looks like Sun is her goal. Mm-hmm. It's the one that she wants to go after. So now that all these ladies are here, they get to play a game. And now we get into, before we do that though, the unfortunate thing is that, of course, everything is televised. And May and I guess like a whole bunch of their neighbors, older women, are up there like, oh, like having a party at their apartment, like, oh, go, Day, you got this, you got this. And then May has a medical emergency and she passes out. And then Day gets a call that, wait a minute, I got ahead. Because she meets someone first.
Oh, yeah, the bathroom.
Yeah. So before we get into that little news about her, hearing news about her sister, so she, of course, like, she's up here pigging out and everything else, even through the gentleman being introduced. She ate too much, and so she has to go to the bathroom. And so she goes in. But the thing about this, of course, where they're at, where the place is, the farm and all that stuff, is that, of course, there's different bathrooms for men and women. So they have urinals in there. She's never seen them before, because in the outside world, there is no urinals. There's no men.
Yeah.
And so, like, she doesn't know what a urinal is. So she was looking at the urinal like, what does it do? What is that? But she goes to the stall, does her business, and she comes out. But she sees someone there, and it's Sun, and he's using the urinal. Number one, apart from being on TV, she, I'm sure, has never seen a man up close before. Mm-mm. Number two, he's up there doing his business, and so she's like, how does this work? And so she kind of like peeks around him. He's like,
It being kind of very creepy about it.
Creepy.
And we understand where it's coming from, because you have to remember,
she's curious.
She hasn't seen a man up close, let alone his business or what they do, because she's like, how do you do the
how do you do that? Like, how did your thing operate that thing? Like, what is that thing? So
and so she's being all creepy and getting up on him, and he's like, can I help you?
It's, especially since, you know, you have to also understand from his standpoint, because we know, like, a lot of the motivations that are getting her this way, and especially since at this time, before we hear news about what happened with May passing out, you know, May had asked her to get an autograph from Sun, because Sun is her favorite.
Yeah.
And so it's coming up here, not only just looking at him and trying to look at him, but, you know, she's in a private place and, like, kind of having a little corner. And so from his standpoint, he has practically been groomed to be idolized and worshipped all this time. And so it's coming off from the other side of being an idol.
Stalker.
So she's a stalker.
Like a Saucing fan.
And so, like, it's coming off being crazy, especially since, like, she won't leave, and she doesn't, like, no, oh, excuse me, I
won't take any hints, like, hey, this is kind of weird, can you please
back off. Like, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And so she's like, well, my sister really wants an autograph. He's like, stalker. Like,
can you do this sometime later? Like, this is not the time.
Time and place.
And it very much is like, you're not helping your situation.
Yeah.
And so that happens. And so after that, they have, like, the formal introductions of the guys to the girls. And the girls are all freaking out and stuff. And she's been back just chomping away. Like, but then she realizes, like, oh, crap, that's one of the guys.
Yes.
Oh, I've already made a bad impression, but, you know.
And then after that, she does get word about her sister. And the producer of the show comes up to her, and already she's like, I need to quit because I need to go check on my sister. And Valentine, her friend, who is working on the show, is kind of, there with her as support. But you also will see Valentine kind of like hanging in the background because she's kind of working in the producer room. So she's kind of close with the producer a little bit. So, and this is her first time job that she got onto to work on Ready, Set, Love. And so Day was just like, yeah, I can't do this. Not with my sister being sick. I need to go and tend to her and see what she's going on. And the producer's just like, you know what? If you win, your sister will have the best health care here. Mm-hmm. So make it your choice. You can do this. Your sister will be practically like cured from her disease. So Day was just like, F it, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna do this for my sister.
And the producer is giving some really shady vibes, like, because we're like, okay, why are you like signaling her specifically? Like, why are you coming to her? Because she was like, hey, I need to talk to her real quick. And then, like, you see her kind of being guarded by some of the other employees, including Valentine. Valentine's kind of on the side. I'm like, this looked like some gang activity. Like,
a little bit.
It's giving some shady mess. And the producer, like, I was like, yeah, you have some weird stuff going on, some weird vibes.
Well, you remember what she had said after she had left her, that she's like, keep a good eye on her because, like, with the family turn, it'll make for good TV. So,
and and it kind of reminds me of, like, reality shows in general, where they're not worried about the well-being of the participants involved. They're only worried about good ratings and making good content and not doing that check-in.
I wouldn't even necessarily call it good content.
Well, you know what I mean. Engaging content. Like, as long as it's getting eyes on the screen and people are paying attention, it's like, who cares about the state of these girls? Or even the men themselves, which we'll get into a little bit later. As not all of them are as enthusiastic about being part of this. And yeah.
I guess, like, with all the men there, like I said, there were 5 of them. Mm-hmm. So we already met Sun. He is our male lead in this particular drama. Then you have one that's named Max, the Kai equivalent.com.
Look at my chest.
I mean, chest, because every time, like, twice when they were doing the introduction to the ladies, he's up there, like, trying to take off his jacket twice. I'm like, very nice. He's like, very nice set.
Oh no, it's so hot in here.
And it's just like,
he's funny.
He's like, you literally just got the microphone, like, put it away. Mm-hmm. Then you have Jin. He's kind of like your nerdy, scientific kind of person. Then you have one that's named Paper. He's more, they haven't really established, but he's like more of a music fan. And he's very sweet. He will ask questions about, like, how does it feel when you find out, like, when you realize what that one is that would make you feel a certain way.
He's like the baby of the group.
Yes.
Like, it's very much giving, like, Honey Senpai from, like, or on High School Host Club. Not as cute, but you can tell, like, he's very, very innocent. He's kind of sheltered.
Well, of course, they all
are, but he's probably the most, like,
out of all of them, yes. And then you have Almond. Almond is the oldest one out of them, because I think, like, everyone's on average about, like, from 22 to 26. 27, somewhere in there. So Almond is the oldest, and he's the cook. All the guys are color coded. So Sun's color, quote unquote, is red. I'm not saying quote unquote because it's manufactured that way, but I don't know if that's actually his color. I'm sure he probably might have picked something else like black. No, him. Like, Almond is blue, Jin is green. Almond, I think, is orange or yellow, and Kai is
blue,
purple,
right? Or
Almond's blue.
Okay. Trying to keep people straight.
Keep everyone straight. But I'm like, red is the most, like, incentive for Sun, because I guess he's, like, the most important. But Kai is not Kai. Max. He is purple, and so when they go into this first game, they're all lined up in the hexagon. And I will also say, like, hexagon is a major component in here because it also gives off hive mind. That's what it also gives off. But, like, a lot of it, like, that is the emblem of the farm and all the enforcers there. But you will see the hexagon everywhere. That is, like, the ultimate thing. You might see it reflected in their eyes. Like, there's this one part where I do too, because it almost seems like it's almost robotic. Like, they're being, like, it's like they're robotic but sentient, as you know. They're talking to
it's like something clicked in. Like, okay, do what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
You have a purpose. Like, play your role. Like, act your role.
Act your role. Act your part. But of course, like we already know also, like we'll get into Sun and his, like, already his perception right now in episode 1, because you already get like hints of him just like, I don't want to be here, this place sucks. And so they have to play a first game, and the ladies are all around a hexagon, and there's like color lights that come within that hexagon, and each of the colors represent each of our guys. And so they will be asked like a variety of different, like one question after another, that they have to go and pick which of the guys said that, did that, or whatever like that. And so like the first question was like, and look through previews of Netflix but fall asleep before they actually choose something. I'm like, girl, everybody, like, what are you talking about? And so, like, you find out that's Max, so they have to go and stand in the circle, the purple circle for Max. And so, like, mostly everybody got that, but of course, Day doesn't know Jack. But what she is very perceptive. And so, like, even though she didn't know, like, there's this one girl that murmured, well, everybody knows that. And so she's like, well, I'm going to go follow everybody.
Yeah, because the Lucky Lotto girls, they all kind of form their own little clique, separate from the career girls. And so they kind of, like, come together as their own little
clique.
We're in it together, like, we can do this.
Yeah.
And so they have this infectious energy where it's like, oh, yeah, I know that, da-da-da-da-da. And so in the first round, at least, she's like, okay, I'm going to follow and go there. But we see that tactic being used against the other girls later on as each question goes. And so with the second question, oh god, I forgot what the second question was.
I mean, was it about the sun setting? When the sun sets, they thought that it converted to the moon.
Yes. And that was a trick question, because in order for you to get that answer, it came from a live stream where two of them,
Jen and
Paper, were talking to each other. And so if you were not paying attention, you could accidentally get the wrong person this time. And so I think that's what happened.
Yeah, because some were saying like, oh, it's Jen, and then other people were just like, maybe it was Paper.
Yeah, and there's like, it was so funny because there's one specific Lotto girl, and she's just so amped and just so hyped all the time. And I was like, yeah, she might want to follow her at first. But then, this is when we start getting the first callbacks to with her sister, and you see her sister shoving her phone in Day's face, like, "Oh, look at this live stream! Look at them! Aren't they so cute?" And she's like, "Girl, get that out of here!"
Bills.
But you see them kind of going back and forth, and she remembers, like, "Oh my god!"
Yes.
And so it's so funny because all of the Lotto girls are like, where are you going? It's this guy. She's like, But I wish she had said, no, wrong one. Move. I wish she had like, hey, follow me. But at the very last second, because she's usually like the last person to move. Yeah. Everybody else is sprinting out and getting in the circles. And you see her as she's thinking, the callbacks start happening, and then she starts moving. Yeah. And so she starts darting toward the career, her friends. And then she's like, no, wait, no, that's wrong. Yeah. And she gets to the right one. All of her friends get, like, eliminated. And it sucks because we were talking about that. I was like, I wish she had kind of motioned to them, like, no, move, follow me. But you were like, well, she wants to win. This is a competition. And it's like, but that sucks now because she has no one else on her side at this point.
A little bit, but I'm like, she was always going to be by herself anyway, because eventually that's one thing that always get harder down the line, is that, eventually you're going to have to eliminate your friends. If it comes down to them or her sister, it has to be her sister first. And so, like, that's the tough thing, because, like, they were her friends, but they were people that she just met. But it's like, you always want to go into competitions like that with allies, and of course, like, Chanel and Bobby already together, and of course a lot of the careers, but they already knew of each other, and they knew what they were trying to force to, and especially since it comes for the haves and have-nots, they are the haves. Basically. And usually most of the time they have.
And they're at a significant advantage too. And Chanel uses the same tactics, but as a way of kind of like weeding people out from her, because she has like Bovie and then like 2 or 3 tag-alongs, and she seems like she doesn't really care about them, and so they just kind of trot and follow her wherever she goes. But yeah, it was kind of sad because it's like her, like the little support that she had at that moment, it's like, all right, so now she has to rely on her own instincts and skills. And luckily with each successive question, she's able to answer stuff because of like past events that she's remembered. Like it asks about, which member reads this book called Utopia, and it's the only copy, and we see her flashing back. You see her kind of like typing in the air, like she's typing at a calculator, and we flash back to her. She's crunching numbers, trying to pay bills, and once again her sister's like, oh my god, can you buy me this book, because this guy has it and I want to read it just like him. And she's like, girl, money is tight right now, like maybe next month, but now
it's like we can't afford it.
But every single question she gets up to this point because she remembers those little moments with her sister, and it's like, oh man. So it just makes like her purpose moving forward even more important. She's like, yeah, I don't care about this, but I want to take care of my sister. So having her go back to those callbacks, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I like how they did it too. The transitions were really cool. And then on the very final question, this was kind of heartbreaking. It was interesting because I was like, oh no, they're gonna do something, because the producer is so like fixated on her for some reason. But she gets the last question happens, and this is like, okay, this is it. This is the final round. And Chanel does something devious. She's like, oh, well, I know it. And what was interesting, you see how Chanel and Bovie and her friends kind of play their game. And at first, she's like, Bovie's like, oh no, let's go out. And she's like, no, wait a second. Because picking up on what Day did, it's like, no, you have people that are following others, but she's like, no, hold on. And then the last question, she starts going toward the right answer, and everything looks like it's all good. And then she's like, losers, and then boosts. And it's like, but with each successive question, Day ends up running into Chanel and the career girls, and literally is hanging on by her sash. And it's such a funny moment because I'm like, girl, physics is not your friend right now. Like, you should be falling down. And
or like knowing me, like the sash would have torn, and then that would be the end of that.
I would have fallen like first thing. But with every elimination, you have these masked people and with guns, and they shoot like this gas
or like kind of like a I would call it like having like a fire extinguisher, kind of like that, because like it kind of coats you a little bit.
You see one of them waiting, like, come on, you're gonna fall, and somehow she makes it through.
Even though she was leaning outside the circle, her feet was still.
They were still in. The
person with the gun's like, all right, I'll get you next time.
Okay, next time though. But yeah, the final question, she starts bolting like in the last 7 seconds.
And the last question was, who does not like fireworks and therefore cannot enjoy, like, be alone on New Year's Eve? Now, the unfortunate part was when she had done that callback, because yes, her sister was going to grill her about that, but Jay was like, no, I don't want to hear about that. But that day is when she realized how sick her sister was and took her to the hospital, and the doctor practically told her, like, I know you work a lot, but if you had been more attentive to the condition of your sister, you have already spotted that she was already worse off than you predicted.
And I hated the way the doctor phrased that, because it made it feel like it was blaming her, and it's like, she has to work. Like,
she has to work, but I mean, and that's how doctors are. A lot of doctors don't have any tact like that. And you know, that also makes you very, very, I'm sure, feel very guilty. That's why when it comes to her buying milk or bringing home the little stand thing in the shape of sun, it's like almost to make up with that. So it's like, you know, and I'm sure like with all the milk that May had bought, I'm sure they couldn't afford it, but I'm sure with her, she was trying to put it in her budget to where she could. So
and cut back on things for herself, because she seems like she doesn't really need much. But I like that even though, you know, their home isn't the nicest, it's still bright and colorful, and it's very reflective of the both of them. And
I mean, even with May having all of her, like, stuff on the walls, like, of sun and everything else, you know, because they each have, I guess, like, their twin room, but it's kind of like a, it almost feels like it's a studio apartment, but it's, you know, some places they can both live comfortably and still happy, and I'm like, and there's still like enough space to move around for, like I said, for the little shrine of sun, but it's fine. You know, I think it seems like she was probably doing that to make up for her not being able to be there, because I'm sure she also had to work more just for her treatments that she has to pay for.
Yeah.
So
because healthcare isn't cheap, even in Thailand. Like, there's still, you know, some significant costs there, and you know, having having to go back to the doctor. But it was interesting because with the final question, we see the callback of her like first figuring out like, oh my God, my sister's sick. But also she had noticed in the introduction where they were introducing all the guys, there was like a little, oh gosh, like a confetti shoot that happened, and
with a pop sound,
and it shocked San, and she picked up on that, and she's like, oh my God, and starts booking it, and we're like, oh gosh, she's almost there, hoping she makes it, and she doesn't reach it by like a single fingertip.
Yeah, she tried to jump to make it, but because she started moving at 7 seconds, but like the two red circles was like way across the hexagon, so yeah, she just fell short by literally a few inches, and so she gets sprayed by the people, and she's crying because she's like, oh my God, I found my sister, and with that, I'm sure it's with that fear of like, oh my God, my sister's gonna die, especially with knowing that she's in the hospital, like,
and the fact that she did not move, like, after, everything happens, she just kind of crawls into this ball, and you just see her, like, her whole composure just shatters.
Yeah.
And even though she's being sprayed and all that, it's just like, girl, but where I'm like, no, you're not out the gate just yet. Because there's a spotlight shown up under where she was, and they're like, oh, guess what? Because you made it to the final round, you get a free save or whatever they called it.
Or what they were saying, because it was not just for her, but for the other people who didn't get the answers right, because I saw them dancing in the background.
Yeah.
But they were just like, even though you did not answer this correctly, you'll still get like a second chance. Because I'm like, you at least got to this final round. And so everyone's like, yippee! And so she was immediately just like, I'm still in it! Alright, great!
And I like that they did it where it wasn't so obvious that it was just sheer favoritism for her.
Yes.
So it gave...
Because again, like, she was the last Lotto winner that was there. And so with her, she makes for good TV, so it'll be a big disservice for her just to leave, because I'm sure like after that part, without anybody else that had like such a fiery spirit that has like a stake that they need to fight for that we know of right now.
Yeah.
Apart from the careers, I'm sure it'll make for boring TV, because most of the time I'm sure the careers always won. But now it's nice to see that or the socialites, I should call them.
Yeah.
They're called something else, but I forget. But I'm like, you can call them socialites, the plastics, or whatever like that. It still applies. It's always the top tier people that always get the most and get the best and get it first. So now they go into this other. It's not necessarily a game. It's just practically speed dating of sorts. So they are in, again, a hexagon group of rooms that are in the shape of hexagons themselves. Each of the contestants, at least, like, they do it half at a time. So she's not with the careers, but she's in the first group first. And each of the ladies will go in, and practically the guys will go through and pretty much interview these women, and they have to at least save one of them. Mm-hmm. And so, like, when it comes to them, of course, like, through the first round of interviews, because each of the guys will come in and just pick random room, go in and sit. Mm-hmm. And then we find out by the time the 3 minutes is up, because each will have 3 minutes, Jen, Paper, and Max already picked their person they wanted to save, because the guys will have to do like this weird dance and say like, I save you. And so for each one, and I forgot, like, each room they kind of have like a the girl sits on one side of the glass, the guy sits on another, and so like a lot of it's like transparent until they sit down and the lights illuminate, then you see like, oh, he's here. But the thing about this is, like, of course, not only did Sun not pick anybody, Almond was, because Almond is on the hunt for somebody. Mm-hmm. Day is up there having a full-on meltdown because, why aren't I being picked? It's like, girl, because you up there acting the most, and you can hear her, and of course, everything's being filmed, so everything is live. So Almond is up here looking for Lotto girls. That's who he's looking for, and so he picks a room, and so all of a sudden the light goes off on the outside of when he comes in, and then we see the light dims in here so they can see each other. Mm-hmm. But it's not Almond that she sees. It's Sun.
Yep.
We find that Almond missed her by one room.
Yep.
And so their interaction is hilarious because Sun is up here looking all non-Camille, and that's what his air has always been. At first he's like, oh, I am so sorry about earlier. Like, that was my fault. Because things are a little awkward because the last time she interfaced with him in his private parts was
And at first, it's so funny because she's like, hello, and he's like, oh, you want to play that game? Yeah. It's like more like hello again.
Yeah.
So
and so now like the host like of the broadcast was like, wait, y'all met? Like, how did you meet? Because she's not supposed to have seen him before this. And so he gets on his phone, he cues up on the screen between them. He's just like, what is that? And it's in the form of the figure that you will see like from the men's bathroom. And so she's like, well, that looks like a man. He's like, what's that? And then everyone was up there like, ooh, like, because it's scandalous. It was a urinal. And so she's like, you have to understand, we don't have separate bathrooms outside of here.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is the first time I ever seen that. He was like, well, irregardless of that, next time if you see that, back away and just leave. So, not be a non-starter, but it just seems like he's also just running out the clock. Like we had said before, he's known as, like, the Ice Prince. And so, when he went out of that room, he didn't seem like he was interested in the least because, the girl seemed like she was a genuinely sweet girl that he had talked to before, was just like, oh, so what's your favorite color? And he says, red. I'm like, I don't know if that's true because he didn't look like he was committed to say that.
And then she's like, oh, I'll buy you something red. And he's just like, okay.
It's like 3 minutes up yet. And so when it comes to this, I'm sure like this is the most entertaining interface he's had for a while. But then she says something, and I was telling you, I'm like, I really wish she would at least have been upfront about like her circumstances, because like to me, like, I think this is what's going to happen for a lot of times. It's going to come off as her just wanting that level up, to get into the farm or the place so that she can be in a happier and healthier life. And that's what she was trying to sell from, like, please, can you pick me? I need to invest in the next round. Like, I really need to get onto the farm. It's like, I really, really need that. I need to get married. Can you please save me? And he's like, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
You don't need to be here.
Yeah.
It's not him being a prick about it. It's not that you can see, like, this cast of sadness on him where he's just like, you don't really want to be here because this place is not what it looks like.
The double meaning.
In that. And I love that this is the part where you see the hexagon reflection in their eyes from the lighting, because a lot of these guys are very manufactured. So it almost comes off as being like Stepford a lot. But he's saying this earnestly, against his own programming. And yes, he's being cold. He's being himself, the cold prince. But he's also trying to tell her, like, look, you really do not want to be here. I'm telling you this earnestly. Mm-hmm. But then as he says that, she's like, well, shoot, there goes my chances. And so as she takes off the sash, what does he see?
He sees a necklace.
Ooh.
And this ties into one of the first scenes that happens in the episode, where it's earlier, several years before all of this happened, and we kind of see like these, I guess, police officers, security officers.
They're female security officers from the farm.
And they're looking for, they're like, oh, one of the males has escaped, find him. And we see them kind of close in, like, in this area where there's this little boy underneath a basket, and he's like trying not to breathe hard. Like, you see him trying to hold his breath. And just as they're about to close in on him, they hear a sound from up above, and it's from a little girl. And they get distracted and they run away in the opposite direction. Mm. And come to find out, that little girl was Day. Mm-hmm. And so Day basically saved him, and she had the same necklace, but this time the necklace was whole.
Yeah.
Especially when the hexagons start becoming clear, because he gets closer into the camera, into the mirror, and he sees that necklace, and he's like, oh crap, I have to stop her.
Yeah.
And so Day is dismayed. She leaves, and she's like, okay, whatever, I screwed up. But we see Son like bolt out of there, and he's like, he runs into Almond, and Almond's like, what the hell, what's going on? Yeah. He's like, move, I gotta find her, let's go.
Yes.
And then when he does like run into her, he's like, wait, you need to stay. And then Day's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. And then he does the dance.
Well, hold on. Before that, he does pick up the sash, because she already, like, put her sash down.
Yeah.
She's like, done that, he picks it off the floor and then he puts it on her, and the camera spins, and they have this moment. I'm like, I felt the flutter. I felt the chemistry.
Yeah.
And so the guy hostess, because he was like the winner, I think, of like season 6 and stuff. Him and his wife are part of the hostess, and there's a main hostess there, and he's just like, no, he keeps pointing because he's like, you have to do the dance, you have to do, because you have to make it official. And so, like, eventually, he finally did the dance, because, like, Son all this time was just like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing it.
Dumb.
It's dumb. It's stupid, and I hate that. And so he finally, like, does the dance, and he points to her, he's like, I save you. And so, and Max was like, I thought he wasn't going to do it. Like, but of course, like, he saved her because now he saw that necklace.
Yep.
And now he knows who she is. And of course, she's wondering, like, why did you save me? He's like essentially, you asked me to.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a reversal, because at that, at the end, we're like, okay, he's not going to choose her. Something's going to happen. Like, But then he sees that necklace, and his whole demeanor just changes on a dime.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, this is really important, because apparently, like, he did go back to the farm at some point. We don't know how, like, everything went down.
Or I do. You do not.
Don't tell me things.
I'm not telling you things. But I'm like, I did already watch it, so I already know what's going on. But like I said, this is my retrospective of me seeing things now that I have knowledge. I'm putting it along. But apart from what I told you to sell you on this thing about, like, things going on with Chanel and everything else I've kind of left vague so that you can enjoy it. But I'm not telling you anything else.
Okay.
Now that I have knowledge, it's like, okay, now this thing makes more sense. Or I didn't catch that part before. But now I'm just like, looking at all the other things, like the hexagon, the eyes. Like, you see the hexagon all over the place because it seems like everything is so manufactured and like fake and not the way it is. Now, it's fun from this aspect because we're going into the funsy, gamesy part. And like, oh yeah, it also gives off like Squid Game a little bit too.
Yeah, that too.
But not as Blade, but it still has its fun elements to it. But there's a lot of stakes at heart because a lot of people do aspire. Even nowadays, like it's like, oh, I've always been want to be rich. Like people win the lottery, then you realize, oh, people just keep asking for money from me. You can never be left alone. You keep getting hounded not only by family but by people who are trying to take advantage of you and all that stuff. So it goes to show, like each of their life has their pros, but a lot of them have their cons too.
Especially when you think about, like, these kids have been raised up to be married off.
Yeah. And
it's a game, but at the same time, it's like you're locked into this destiny that you have no real control over. Like, that has to be pretty dark for them. And so
it's almost like raising royalty, like princes. You have to get married for political reasons, but you also have to procure and have heirs, and you have to eventually rule afterwards. But it's like a lot of times with them, they cannot choose who they love. They choose it for them.
And like every time I think of the farm, I think of like being bred and just like being treated like stock animals. Just,
you're not lying.
And it's just like, gosh, and these are young people, and it's weird. Like, I know for the girls, like it's exciting for them, but it's like for the guys, who knows what hell they've been through.
And a lot of it is, we'll get into that too, because we have Son who, even by episode 1, you can evidently tell he's not a fan of this. And especially since, like, as you know, he escaped somehow. Yeah. And so on top of that, you might run into others that might be comfortable with how they were. Because a lot of things also is just like, you're scared of what you don't know. Yeah. And then it's the unknown. So I guess, like, with that, do you have any other things to add? Or do you have speculations on episode 2?
Oh, I don't know. Well, we know Valentine's going to be involved somehow because she's in the producer room and she keeps eyeing, like, the producer. And the producer has, like, this confidential file in her that she keeps on her at all times. And I have a feeling Valentine's going to get involved to try to help Day move through the rounds. And there's still some sinister stuff going on that I'm like, ooh, it's giving, like, the producers station in the Hunger Games where they're just like, they can't really go outside of their directives, otherwise there's real consequences for them. But I love how you have the high contrast of the bright colors and how distracting, and look how pretty and wonderful this is against, like, the dark reality of what this all represents and why they're doing it. It's like bam, like we've really turned the population like bust into a game show just to be like, hey, we need a we only have 314 guys for all these women.
Yeah.
And like you could tell like there's some men who love the adoration and the attention, and some of them are like, get me the fuck up out of here.
Yeah,
like,
please do. Can I be dismissed?
But I love this so far. I love, like, Day is so funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
She's so extra, and I think that's part of what makes her stand out, like, because she has no chill whatsoever. She's like, okay, well, if I win, great, but now that she has an actual purpose, and now that San knows who she is, like, I can't wait to dive into their backstory more.
Yeah, so. And I'm like, it's always about the stakes. That's what makes Day so much more like the producer was saying, like it makes her more appealing because she has a lot more at stake here. She has a lot more to lose because like her sister's health is on the line, and so she's willing to do anything to make sure that May is good at the end of the day. And so others are just fangirls. She's in it to win it. Yeah. So, but I guess like if you're ready, we can move on to episode 2.
Let's do it. I'm ready to see more.
All right. Well, we will go on to episode 2 and let you know more about our thoughts.